The approach is of controlled. So controlled parenting. How do I control my child's behavior? Whereas when it comes to the digital world or most of the world, if we can collaborate and get information from the child and help them interpret information, it becomes a lot easier. So, how does one share this with parents that you have to move away from the control methodology of parenting towards a collaborative, a safe space where the child is speaking up? Because most of the experiences on the internet are going to be new. Some of them might be only meant for adults, which the child will not understand. But how do you figure out what they have, what information they have received through these screens, and b really talk them through it? Because in cultures of the global south, like India, something like pornography is a topic that nobody has ever spoken about openly, like never. So I'm 37. My parents, my wife, my friends, we have never had a neutral conversation about pornography. Maybe amongst boys, one would talk and giggle in a corner, but never actually talk about that, okay, this is how it is. This is what happens when you consume it, and this is the result of it. So, how can parents do it, or how can one start this conversation?
I think that when it comes to workshops that you are doing with parents, you should start with having the parents together with their children. We very much pursue the methodology of nothing about them without them. So we are trying to make parents in school discussions, in family discussions, in whatever comes in their way, including, for example, workshops, to work together with the children, because it's a huge experience, and also it's a way of exploring each other's roles. There have been some very successful initiatives. They usually take the form of some kind of a competition that involve children and their grandparents. There are children grandparent IT competitions. They started them a good 20 years ago, when you could be more or less sure that the grandparents' generation is totally digitally illiterate. And these competitions were very interesting because it had a very interesting balance of power. The children had a lot of knowledge and understanding of digital technology, but very soon they realized that they need to go to the grandparents for advice, and also the grandparents realized that their lack of knowledge about the technology is not preventing them from being supportive. Also, in the case of grandparents, there is usually much more patience. So the grandparents are usually much more open to asking questions, waiting for more detailed answers by the children. And in that way, the parents can also learn from their own parents. So first of all, I would, if it comes to workshops, then I would definitely start with having the children there. We have a program that is an active citizenship training for schools, where in each training group, you have the school head, teachers, parents, and children. And it's an amazing learning journey how school heads and teachers and parents understand that they can learn from the children, and the children are much more capable than many others. At the same time, I'm not a total idiot or idealist. I know that this is going to be a long journey. I've just read the last book by the Danish family therapist Jesper Juul that he wrote before his death. And he says that the whole child rights movement, understanding that children are capable, that they can express their needs, and they can also navigate their own lives much better than we thought, it's very similar to the feminist movement or the suffragettes. There is a huge difference, though, when it came to women's rights. Women are actual grown-ups and they could better fight for their own rights. And also, the women's rights movement is more than 100 years old, and still we are not there. And what we are living in is a child rights revolution. And when families have to understand how to consider children also as capable rights holders, similar to women, because if you look at the global approach to women, you will see that women were considered to be not capable of taking care of their money. They didn't have voting rights. They were not allowed to pursue their own careers. So a lot of things have changed. And I think that the digital technology and the fact that children are often much more confident using digital technology will help this revolution. But it's not easy because we have the only role model in our own families that is kind of ingrained in our own mentality. So it's very difficult to overcome, to jump our own shadow, because if we were not treated as equals, it takes a lot of effort to treat our own children as equals. But I believe that there are more and more people who see this.